Did the FIA go too far? Verstappen's shocking response to his penalties might change everything. What's the sequence of the events? Stay tuned to find out. And we've got some exciting Formula news for you. So stick around until the end to catch all the latest updates. Welcome to Formula Every Day. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell for more updates. Max Verstappen slams FIA for controversial penalties in chaotic Mexican GP. In a dramatic turn of events at the Mexican Grand Prix, Max Verstappen's championship defense suffered a substantial blow as he received two penalties that redefined the race's trajectory. The FIA deemed Verstappen's maneuvers against Lando Norris in turns 4 and 8 as dangerous driving, leading to two separate 10-second penalties. As a result, Verstappen's one and only pit stop stretched to over 40 seconds, which ultimately saw him finish in P6. These decisions have stirred up widespread debate over the FIA's consistency and sparked fresh controversy about its treatment of Verstappen. The two incidents with Norris have become the weekend's most debated moments, raising questions about whether Verstappen's aggressive style is being selectively penalized. At turn 4, Verstappen defended his position fiercely, even as Norris held the inside line and a slight advantage at the apex. But rather than concede, Verstappen held his ground, pushing Norris off track. In turn 8, he executed a similarly aggressive move, edging Norris off the racing line and gaining a lasting advantage. Many fans and pundits argued the moves were harsh but fair racing, while others saw them as a violation of the racing code. The controversy intensified when comparing these penalties with those of other drivers, especially as Verstappen's fierce rival, Norris, had himself received only a 5-second penalty for a similar overtake. The situation has cast doubt on the FIA's impartiality, with many speculating whether Verstappen's tactics, widely seen as a strategic push to stay at the championship lead, have drawn closer scrutiny than other incidents on the grid. As for Norris, his frustrations were evident over the team radio, where he voiced concerns about the risks Verstappen's tactics posed. "This guy is dangerous," he exclaimed after narrowly avoiding contact. Norris's remarks echoed the feelings of many as he continued to navigate Verstappen's unyielding defensive maneuvers. Meanwhile, Red Bull instructed Verstappen to yield the position back to Norris in turn 8, though Verstappen's bold, last-ditch defensive approach seemed to signal his intent to keep his title lead intact despite the penalties. The FIA's decision to penalize Verstappen, coupled with its leniency toward other controversial moves, notably Sergio Perez's altercation with Lawson, has raised questions about fairness. Some believe that the FIA aimed to placate the Mexican crowd by overlooking Perez's actions, as a penalty could have dampened the atmosphere among the 400,000 local fans in attendance. This perceived inconsistency has led to further criticism of the governing body's handling of high-stakes, title-implicating scenarios. Adding to the intrigue, former world champions and F1 analysts like Damon Hill and Martin Brundle weighed in, criticizing Verstappen's approach. They argued that his moves were borderline reckless, suggesting the need for a rule overhaul to address increasingly aggressive driving tactics. As the championship battle heats up, these calls for reform indicate that the FIA may soon enforce stricter standards in upcoming races to prevent similar incidents. With only 4 races and 2 sprints left, the stakes remain higher than ever, as Verstappen's lead is now narrowed and Norris inches closer in the standings. The question lingers: will Verstappen adjust his approach to retain his title, or will he continue with his aggressive defense, testing the boundaries of what's acceptable in Formula One? Fans and drivers alike will be watching closely, especially if the FIA moves to adopt stricter enforcement policies before the season concludes in Abu Dhabi. In our view, Verstappen's penalties in Mexico highlight an ongoing tension in Formula One over aggressive driving and the balance between fair racing and safety. The Dutchman is known for his assertive style, which has brought him tremendous success, but it also puts him at odds with the FIA's evolving approach to race governance. While Verstappen's defensive moves against Norris were intense and arguably within his rights as a competitor, the decision to penalize him, especially with 2 separate 10-second penalties, suggests the FIA is taking a firmer stance on contact-heavy racing, perhaps in response to increased scrutiny from other drivers and teams. Yet, the consistency of FIA rulings remains a significant point of contention. Verstappen's penalties were notably harsher than those of other drivers in similar situations, such as Norris and Perez. This discrepancy raises questions about how the FIA applies its own standards across different races and drivers, which could influence the championship's outcome. For Formula One to progress, a clearer, consistently enforced rulebook on racing conduct would benefit both drivers and fans, ensuring that the title race is decided on skill and strategy rather than subjective interpretations. What do you think about the FIA's decision to penalize Verstappen at the Mexican Grand Prix? Do you agree with the 2 10-second penalties for his moves against Norris, or do you feel it was too harsh? And do you think the FIA is consistent in how they apply penalties across different drivers? We'd love to hear if you think these kinds of rulings make the sport fairer, or if they take away from the excitement of Formula One. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what your opinion. See you soon.